Hello, everyone. My name is Anthony Hankerson. I am a employee relations partner in our career and professional development office here at WGU. We have an exciting presentation today with Zion's Bank and wanted to go over a few things before we start. Like I mentioned earlier, this session will be recorded and you will receive a copy of the session via email. If you are able to fill out the survey that will come with that session email, that would be great. But without further ado, I will pass the mic over to Jacob from Zion's Bank. Thank you.
Good morning or afternoon, depending on where you are, everyone. My name is Jacob Newman, and I'm very excited to be here today to talk to you about Zion's Bancorporation. To give you a little introduction to myself before I talk a little bit about our company and the opportunities that we have available, I have been with the bank for approximately 2 years. I hit 2 years on September 19th. I have a background actually in higher education. I used to work in career services here at the University of Utah, and then I was a technical recruiter for a brief stint along what we call the Silicon Slopes here in Utah, like Silicon Valley. And then I landed this job here at the bank as our campus recruiter. So I primarily recruit for our internship program, which is very robust, and we'll talk a little bit about that today, as well as an entry-level program that we have for recent finance and accounting and business grad called the Banker Development Program. We will also talk about that. But I recognize that with Western Governors University, we have a lot of folks who come from a lot of different backgrounds. Maybe you have some experience, or maybe you're making a career pivot, and I would love to talk about some of the other opportunities that we have available here at the bank. With that, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and hope that it works. I can find my presentation. Let's pull that up real fast. Let's try this. Even after all these years, we still have technical issues with that. All right, can everyone see my screen with the Zions Bancorporation cover slide? I can't see the chat, but I'm hoping so.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. So, like I mentioned, I am from Zions Bancorporation, and I recognize we have folks from all over the country. And so, when you think of Zions Bank, if you're here in Utah, that's one of our brands, but we are actually a collection of great banks. And I will dive into that a little bit more here in the coming slides. So Zions Bancorporation has been around for over 150 years now. Last year, we celebrated our 150th anniversary. It was founded right here in Salt Lake City in 1873. We have more than 400 branches across 11 Western states, so we have a pretty large footprint in high growth markets here in the Western United States. We are really passionate about supporting small to medium sized businesses in our community. We have been a top SBA lender in Utah for 20 consecutive years, and we are also a leading SBA lender in Idaho. We are particularly passionate about marketing small business loans to businesses owned by women and people of color. That represented 48% of our loans in 2020. We also were a leading PPP lender, actually, given our size. So we're really passionate about encouraging economic growth and opportunity in our communities. We have been included in the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ Financial 100 indices under the ticker Zion. We have about $90 billion total in assets, and $22 billion of that is within Zion. So really, a large institution. We're continuing to grow. Like I mentioned, we are in high growth markets, and so as a result, we have a lot of different opportunities available for growth. So I hope the slides are progressing. And this kind of shows you our footprint that we have.
Hey, Jacob, and the slides are
Yep.
not moving forward, just to let you know.
Okay, I've had this issue before, so we're just going to do this. Can people see it now?
Yes, yeah, we see the state view, the view of the country.
Yeah, I don't understand why it does that sometimes on presentation mode. So I'm going to have to do some research into that. We'll just do it this way. It's totally fine. So as you can see, we have our footprint. And so like I mentioned earlier in the call, we are a collection of great banks under one charter. So we have a variety of different affiliates or brands in market that represent kind of the feel of that market, have established brands in that community. So as you can see, we have 8 different brands across 11 Western states. M&T Bank of Texas, you may be familiar with. I saw some folks from Texas. Vector Bank of Colorado, National Bank of Arizona, Zions Bank here in Utah, Idaho, and Wyoming, California Bank and Trust, Nevada State Bank, and the Commerce Banks of Washington and Oregon. Like I mentioned, $90 billion in assets, close to 10,000 full-time employees, over 1 million customers. So really, a lot of people, when they think of Zions Bank, like I mentioned here in Utah, they think of just Zions Bank, but we are a collection of great banks that are really tailored to those individual markets and operate with a business model that's focused on those markets. So it's more of a community bank feel, but we are a regional bank. And it's one thing for me to get up here and talk about why the bank is a great place to work. It's another thing to hear it from outside entities. In fact, we've been ranked in American Bankers magazine's most powerful women in banking issue as a top banking team 11 times. A fun fact about the bank, when you think of banking, you may think of it as being relatively male dominated, but actually the majority of our middle managers are women, and we do have a lot of female leaders. Our CTO is a woman. We have a lot of great technologists who are women and great bankers who are women. We've also been recognized, we also have seen Zion's women bankers with individual awards 28 times since 2004. So we're considered one of the best banks to work for, and that we've been awarded that every year since 2013. And Zion's Bank has been honored as the best bank of by Utah's Best of State Awards every year since 2005. So we really have a strong brand and an excellent culture to go along with that. Really an excellent place to work. One thing that we really pride ourselves on as a bank is our culture of service. So many of you may be familiar with the Community Reinvestment Act that requires banks to give back to the local community. But beyond that, we really encourage our employees to get involved in meaningful ways. We encourage volunteerism, whether it be through food drives, blood drives, home repair projects, community volunteer days, financial literacy education events, and more, essentially. One of our annual activities that we really enjoy is called Paint-a-thon, and that takes place here in Utah. Uh, we select low to moderate income households that may need a fresh coat of paint for their house, and then provide that as a service to them. If you know anything about house painting, you know that it can be a very expensive job to get done. So we are delighted to be able to give back and contribute to our communities. And like I mentioned, we are also really invested in community support. If you're from Utah or Idaho in particular, you've probably seen Zions Bank's name everywhere, whether it be in arts or culture scene or economic development, education, health and human services. We are really passionate about supporting our communities because we recognize that we are in the community as kind of a community slash regional bank. And as a result, we are really passionate about making sure that our communities thrive. This is just an example, kind of a cool one from here in Utah. We have Dan Reynolds here on the left from Imagine Dragons. He got his start at a music venue called the Velour in Provo, Utah, which is about an hour south of Salt Lake City. During the pandemic, we all know that some of these venues were hit pretty hard by some challenges. So as a result, Zion's in its effort to give back actually paid off the Velour's mortgage in full, which will really help them moving forward to continue to create a really vibrant music scene right here on the Wasatch Front. In terms of our culture internally, we are also really passionate about serving and representation of our diverse employees. So we have a variety of employee business forums that put on events throughout the year to encourage networking and understanding of the needs of these employees. Like I said, we really are passionate about supporting women and women in technology, but we have a lot of veterans here at the bank. So we have a veteran and military resource group. We have resource groups for Black and African American, Hispanic, Latino, Asian Pacific Islander, Indigenous peoples under kind of our multicultural forum, LGBTQIA. And these are really great opportunities for mentorship and networking. Really just a great way for folks to get involved. So when people think about a bank, they obviously think about finance and accounting folks, but in reality, a bank is much more than just the brick and mortar branches that you think of. We are frankly a technology company. We are one of the largest tech employers here in the state of Utah, And we're constantly engaging in innovation when it comes to technology, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more here in just a second. But over the last several years, we have recognized that we are a tech company and we want to brand ourselves as such. And to accomplish this, and partially to consolidate our footprint here in Salt Lake, we combined 11 buildings into one building that opened in the summer of 2022 that we call Zion's Technology Center. It was built on a reclaimed steel mill that was a EPA Superfund site, but it is actually now a Platinum LEED certified building, which means it's really sustainable. It's 75% powered by renewable energy, has over 170 EV charging stations, which are free for our employees, close to public transportation tracks or the light rail that we have here. Beautiful open space. The first floor is actually open to the public, so if you'd like to see that space, you can go ahead and see that right there in Midvale, Utah. We have pickleball, basketball, soccer fields. It's really a team member focused design. We house about 2,000 of our enterprise technology and operations employees out of this space. And so it's a really great collaborative space that we have, and consolidated our footprint to be environmentally friendly. Before I continue and talk a little bit more about kind of our technology strategy, are there any questions from anyone?
Looks like we don't have any questions so far in the chat.
Okay, just making sure. It gets a little quiet when I'm talking, and it's always kind of weird when you can't see the presentation. So just wanted to make sure we're on the, or not the presentation, the chat. So I just want to make sure we're on the same page. So like I mentioned, people think of a bank and they think of finance and accounting, but really we have a very robust technology arm. And under our enterprise technology and operations, we are powered by over 2,000 people, many of those who are represented out of that in Midvale, Utah. To give you a feel for some of the things that we're working on the enterprise technology and operations side, we service over 74,000 commercial loans and 70,000 consumer loans. We take over 6 million customer calls on kind of average. That kind of gives you a feel for what we were looking at in 2021. 20 million minutes supporting customer calls here. We have robust data. We have 7 petabytes of storage, 18,000 servers, and 3,000 network devices. We're managing applications with 340,000 online banking logins a day, with 800 plus applications that we're looking at. We have an average of 4,000 cybersecurity incidents handled per quarter, with over 1 million cyber attacks attempted and stopped per day. So we are really dedicated to that information security side of things, because as a bank, we face a lot of risk and we need to mitigate that risk. We're processing $7.5 billion daily, with 2 million deposit transaction items processed daily. And we prevent $30 million in customer fraud annually. 6.5 million email interactions monthly for end user support. So really, we have so much going on behind the scenes, and this is really powered by our robust technical capabilities. Our technology strategy is kind of threefold. Customer first. So we're really trying to improve the experience for our customers and make sure that they're having the most positive experience possible. We want to empower local bankers, and we're digital to the core. To give you a feel for this, we actually just completed it's been over a decade long conversion of our legacy deposit and lending systems. And that was a massive undertaking on our part. We're one of the only banks in the country that has undergone that. In a lot of cases, banking technology is 50 years old. It's running on really old technology. We recognized that we wanted to be innovative and really empower our bankers and make the experience more positive for our customers. And so this project has been really successful, and it's led to a lot of really great things here at the bank that we can boast about. But it took literally hundreds of technologists to accomplish this. We hired many, many people to work on it, and we are continuing to innovate in this space to make sure that we are staying modern and really digital to the core. So like I mentioned, we're evolving that core architecture, modernizing that legacy environment to embed intelligence and automation, and thereby protect our customers, and really sorting through our data and our analytics to make sure that we are improving things the best that we can to provide that premium customer experience. All right, now I'm sure you're wondering about opportunities. I'm going to talk about our early career opportunities, and then I'm also going to talk about some of our more experienced opportunities that we have here at the bank. Our internship program, I'd love to talk about this for those of you who are looking for an internship. We are always looking for great talent, whether it be in that technology space or in the banking space. Every year we host literally dozens of interns throughout our footprint. Most of those interns are based out of Salt Lake City, but we do have interns scattered throughout our footprint as well. And you're really an integral part of your team. You're coming in, you're working on real world projects, you're not doing menial tasks. This is a great way for you to build your resume. Like I mentioned, most of our internships are based out of our Salt Lake City office. But beyond that hands-on real-world learning, we offer networking events with executives, both bankers and technologists, professional development and training sessions, whether it be resume refinement or listening skills. We have presentations by our interns to give them a chance to practice those public presentation skills. And like I mentioned, we have a lot of volunteerism here at the bank, so volunteer opportunities, social events. Internship typically runs May through August. It is full time. Conversion to full time after the internship really is our goal because we love to kind of try before we buy in a lot of cases. But this is a great way for you to come in and learn a little bit more about the world of banking and then hopefully join us after the internship and after graduation time. As I mentioned previously, we aren't just looking for bankers, we're looking for people with experience and education relating to a whole bunch of different fields. Quantitative analytics, enterprise operations, risk, credit, information security, technology strategy and governance, wealth management. When you think of a bank, like I said, finance and accounting, but think broader than that. We have folks in even things like applied math, cybersecurity, information systems, data science, all sorts of different divisions love to host interns and provide them with a high quality internship experience. So our internship application process that I'm going to talk about, we are currently accepting applications for our STEM internships. And I will even just navigate to the page here in just a second, probably at the end of this presentation, just to show you some of the things that we have available. When I say STEM, I'm thinking computer science, information systems, applied math, engineering, anything like that, cybersecurity, software engineering, those types of positions. We are accepting applications on a rolling basis. We opened those a little bit ago, and we're going to probably close those in a couple of weeks because we received a high volume of applications. You can see those on careers.zionsbancorp.com. We're screening as folks come in, and then from there, we are going to decide in the coming weeks after we wrap up some of these on-campus events who we are going to move to the hiring manager, and then we have virtual interviews with the hiring manager and the team. From there, then we will extend offers, hopefully wrapping up things up by early to mid-November. Sounds far away, but it'll be here before you know it. Like I said, the internship is a really great experience. And I know for many of the folks on the call, you may be a quote unquote non-traditional student, uh, which we love to see folks from that background, our internship program even, or if you're a graduate student, we've hired graduate students as well, because we recognize that you bring a lot of value and you bring a lot of life experience to the table. And so we would love to see some applications from some of you all. Before I move on to our entry level program for finance and accounting folks, does anyone have any questions about the STEM internships? Then I'll talk briefly about business and kind of general internships. Do we have any questions about some of those STEM internships that I mentioned?
It looks like we don't have any questions so far, Jacob.
Okay, we're doing
Yeah.
good. If folks have questions, feel free to just kind of chime in, and then as we get to the end, I will kind of go through our career page and talk more about some of these opportunities as well. If you are in business or finance or accounting and you're thinking about an internship, for those we have a slightly different recruitment time frame. We tend to recruit for those in the springtime, so we'll post those end of January and then start interviews mid-February. Hopefully, have everything wrapped up for March for that May start date. And those really run the gamut. We have a lot of credit analyst positions where you're helping with the underwriting of loans, financial spreading, financial statement analysis, all that good stuff. We have enterprise accounting, internal audit, fee income, um, treasury, really just a lot of different opportunities in that realm as well. So stay tuned for those. Those will be posted on the same website, careers.sciencebandcorp.com. And as I'll show you in just a minute, we have a filter for early career opportunities. We also have our primary entry point for recent finance and accounting grads, even though at any given time we have hundreds of open requisitions. This is our primary entry point for recent finance and accounting grads. This is called the Banker Development Program. It is a 12 to 18-month credit and business development training program. It's how we build our future bench of bankers here at the bank. And as a result, we are really invested in this program. We have strong executive support. We want to make sure that we are training bankers that are going to come here and innovate and really lead the next generation of innovation. The program has 3 phases. The initial training phase, which is 3, 4, sometimes 5 months, kind of depending on how things go. We have a formal credit training that we call Credit Foundations. In a lot of cases, that's based out of Salt Lake City, but in some cases, we'll have kind of 2 sessions in Salt Lake City and 1 session out of state. You get professional development throughout the program. You're learning about presentation skills. You're building your LinkedIn professional brand. You do case studies with underwriting, so you're helping yourself to kind of understand the principles that you've learned in Credit Foundations. And at the end of Credit Foundations, you do a mock credit presentation to our credit administrators to determine, would I extend this mock loan or not? Really an excellent program when it comes to training about credit and business development. After that, you enter the rotations phase, and that's on-the-job training, working as a credit analyst, helping to underwrite loans, doing financial statement analysis, some introduction to business development there, and you get exposure to a variety of lending lines. Those rotations are typically 8 to 12 months, and the rotations are about 10 to 12 weeks each. As you can see from here, we assess the needs of the bank to determine your interests, and then work with the lending lines to determine how we can best place you. And we have a lot of different lending lines. We have strong market share throughout our footprint. So it could be commercial lending, corporate lending, community banking, real estate banking group, agricultural lending, private banking, dealer finance. There's a variety of different opportunities and a variety of different lending. After that, you move into the placement phase, where you are placed as a portfolio manager, which may take you 3 to 5 years to get into typically, or a credit analyst hybrid, or maybe a relationship manager, depending on the needs of the bank. With relationship management, they'd like to see that you have that strong underwriting understanding first. Continue to learn that portfolio and client mix, and that underwriting support and sharpening those business developments. So this is a cohort-based program, so we are currently accepting applications for June 2025. If you are interested in this program, or you're getting close to graduation and you'd like to learn more about this program, you can visit careers.sciencebandcorp.com. We're going to start interviews for this program here in the coming weeks. And by coming weeks, I mean probably next week. And it's going to be a virtual interview with the BDP leadership team. And then second round interviews, depending on where you are. We hold those in market typically. Like I mentioned, we are a collection of great banks. And so as a result, we actually have this with our other regional affiliates as well. And some of those affiliates are recruiting now. Some of those will be recruiting in the springtime. So keep your eyes peeled for those opportunities that are frequently posted on the different affiliate website. If you are in Texas, we have a very robust bank development program in Texas. That's actually where it started, at Amity Bank. And I know that they are reviewing applications right now, but I think they're getting close to closing those applications. So you can take a look at that on the website. The qualifications are very similar. Looking for a degree in business, finance, or accounting, financial and managerial accounting coursework, and then really good soft, I think soft is a misnomer, skills. I really think those soft skills are foundational. So detail-oriented, organized, analytical, problem-solving abilities, any kind of prior work experience is awesome. So that's a little bit about the Banker Development Program. Before I kind of take us over to our careers page and do some exploring, I will open it up again to questions, and I'm actually going to exit presentation.
So we do have one question in the chat, Jacob. Are the finance-based internships in person, or would there be opportunities for remote?
Typically, just because of the nature of our internship program, they tend to be in person, just because we really want to provide that in-person experience for folks and get you the chance to network. We have considered some folks virtually. It really just depends on qualifications and candidate pool, but typically on our applications, it will say local candidates are preferred. But keep in mind that we do offer internships throughout our footprint.
All right, great. Another question that just came up. What would be most helpful to highlight from my prior experience on my resume while still indicating that I'm trying to change career paths?
Oh, that is an excellent question. I think it's going to depend on what kind of pivot you are making. But I have heard this from technical hiring managers on like the information systems, computer science side. They really want to see the soft skills. I think that's something that's really important. So demonstrate those soft skills and a basic level of understanding when it comes to the technical skills. And then clean, clear resume obviously sounds really obvious, but sometimes people submit things and I'm a little surprised they didn't have someone proofread it as an example. Um, Cover letters are a very mixed bag when it comes to recruiters, even here at the bank. But I think if you're not just regurgitating your resume and you're providing context and telling a little bit of a story about why you're making the pivot that might not be obvious on your resume, even if you just take a paragraph, that can be helpful and help you stand out a little bit. We see a lot of kind of spam applications or applications that are written by AI or cover letters that are written by AI. Do not do that. Give us some context. Tell your story a little bit that might not be obvious from your resume, and that will give you a little bit of a leg up.
That's some great advice, Jacob. I got one other question in the chat. So for business majors, the soonest we can be hired is June 2025. Is that the next start for the cohort?
That is, yeah, that is our next start for the banker development program. But I will kind of go through our job postings for other opportunities. We do have other kind of entry level opportunities or experience opportunities that come up, but those tend to hire on a just in time basis. And what that means is that we will post the role, vet candidates, interview, and then extend an offer. So just because you don't see something now for other types of positions doesn't mean you won't see something down the line. Like I mentioned in my presentation, any given time, we have literally hundreds of open requisitions.
All right, great. Looks like that's the last question. If so, if you want to move forward, that'd be great.
Awesome. Okay, let me go ahead and share again, and we'll kind of go through. Okay, can people see our careers page here?
Yes.
Awesome. So like I mentioned, we do have a early career section here on the website, early career development, and this will list our internships. I'm just going to show you all this very briefly. So as you can see, I know with WGU you have very robust technology programs as well as finance, accounting, business, but we have a variety of different opportunities available: application support engineer, compliance, credit risk. We do have a few that are a little business related that we're kind of front loading in terms of our recruiting. So even though I said typically our business recruiting is in the spring, there are going to be some that are going to fit in the fall that we have posted. Model risk management, data governance, process automation developer, information security, financial crimes, enterprise operations, compliance, credit risk, quantitative modeling. So we're going to have some others posted that are going to be data related, hopefully later this week, early next week. I'm at the mercy of hiring managers for those, but that gives you a good feel for really the variety of different internships that we have available. And then the Banker Development Program also has a section here where you can learn about the program, and then you can view open positions here. And like I said, this will list opportunities that we have available. If you're interested in these opportunities, particularly in Salt Lake City, I would apply ASAP. If you go to our affiliate websites that are in market, like I mentioned on our footprint, you can see if they have other BDP positions posted for internships for outside of Salt Lake for in market, like in Nevada, uh, California, those types of markets. They typically tend to get posted in the spring. Amagi in Texas does have their internships for the bank development program posted already, so you can take a look at that also. Um, I will also just hop over to our experienced or other types of job opportunities. You can sign up for job alerts here on our website, and that will alert you when opportunities open up. Because, like I said, most of our positions are a just in time basis. And as a result of that, it's hard to predict when things will come up because it might be like a new full time employee that gets approved, it might be a promotion, it might be a termination, someone leaving the bank. So it's hard to predict what will come up, but we have stuff literally come up all the time. Here's just a sample of our new jobs: cybersecurity cloud engineer, BSA AML investigator, some of those interns, financial analyst, municipal credit analyst, investment trader, accounting, executive account director, client relationship associate, treasury management technical services specialist, BAW developer, cybersecurity cloud engineer, credit development instructor. So even if some of you on the call, maybe you have experience in banking, you might even be considered for a credit development instructor type of position. Wealth market manager in San Diego. Really, like just from that list, we saw technology, we saw finance, we saw accounting, just tons of different things that you can be considered for. And as you can see, we also break them up into categories. So banking, customer service and support, finance and accounting, human resources, lending, marketing and communications, risk and compliance, technology and operations, wealth management and trust. So just because you don't see something today doesn't mean you won't see something tomorrow, next week, next month, anything like that. If those of you who are maybe a little bit more experienced, if you're thinking about joining the bank and doing full time and still going to school, we do offer tuition reimbursement. We offer medical, dental, vision, all that good stuff. Um, Employee ambassador banking programs, life insurance, competitive 401k, profit sharing, all those good banking holidays that we love to hear about, paid parental program, volunteer opportunities, excellent learning and development. When you come into the bank, we love to support folks on their career journey. And as a result, managers are very supportive if you want to be considered for another opportunity once you've gotten some experience under your belt. We have an enterprise mentoring program that matches you with a mentor at the bank. It's highly structured and run by our learning and development team with opportunities to learn about different topics at the bank, but also just different kind of professional development skills. So as you can see, Zions offers a really robust path for your career, no matter what you're studying, no matter where you'd like to see yourself down the line. Comprehensive benefits, employee development. We like to say that our greatest asset is our people. We recognize that when we invest in our employees, we are able to innovate better. We are able to have great tenure at the bank. I know bankers who have been at the bank for over 3 decades. We have above industry average tenure because we have such a good work culture and because, like I said, our employees are our greatest asset. So with that, I know it was pretty quick. I know we technically have the full hour, but I always love to leave time for questions. I'm also, as we're kind of wrapping up and answering any questions, I'm going to pop my LinkedIn in the chat for you, and feel free to connect with me. I know that sometimes people are a little shy on calls, and you may have questions that come up afterwards. I'm always happy to answer questions from folks about the bank. I may be a little bit slow to respond sometimes because I get pretty busy this time of year, but absolutely happy to answer any questions that folks have. So.
All right. Well, thank you, Jacob. And like mentioned, the chat is open, and if you would like to come off mute, go ahead and use the hand raise emoji, and we will take you off mute so you can ask your question.
And I already have a great question in the chat. What is the top thing you truly enjoy about working for Zions Bancorporation? Man, that is tough for me to pin down. I'll talk a little bit just about my role in particular, and then kind of the company as a whole. So one thing I truly love about my role is I love to connect um, early career talent to really great opportunities. I'm a little biased because I run the internship program, but our internship program is really good. I worked in career services at the University of Utah. I've heard a lot of different experiences about internships, but our internship program, we get excellent feedback. It's highly structured. We have really great opportunities for you to come in and learn and grow. And then the banker development program is truly a really unique experience in our market. There's not programs quite like it, I would say, that offer that caliber of learning. because we really are training such a great cohort of bankers. And then the company in general, one thing that I've really loved is our commitment to promoting economic opportunity in the community. So we're really, our big focus right now is to become a leading SBA lender nationally, with obviously within our footprint because we want to operate within our footprint and understand the needs of the community. But the small businesses in our community are driving economic innovation and growth. And I just really love to see how we're constantly focused on giving back, making sure we're promoting that economic opportunity. And another little plug I will say is that I frankly just love the people that I work with. Like I have worked a lot of different places, and it's truly amazing to see the caliber of employees that we attract who've been here for so long. People are always willing to answer questions, help out with campus recruiting things. When we have campus recruiting events, it's really easy to find people who are just willing to hop in. In fact, sometimes we have to say no to people, which is a really interesting problem to have. But I just love working with people. And like I said, our people are our greatest asset.
All right,
Awesome.
great.
We're getting some other questions. Thank you for your time today, Jacob. Always happy to know that there is a robust veterans population. Are there other populations identities you target for recruiting? I am deeply passionate about folks from diverse backgrounds just based on my own background. I actually started out my career as a refugee service provider and then moved into higher education after that, and then again recruiting, and now kind of coming full circle. I am super interested in connecting with women, people of color, people with disabilities, and I really love non-traditional students, quote unquote non-traditional students, because I know it's really hard in a lot of cases to come back to school. Like it is tough when you're working a full-time job, you may have a family, you have obligations, you have that mortgage to pay, the yard to take care of, all that stuff, right? But I loved to connect non-traditional students to opportunities too. Zions, have been pleasantly surprised at how diverse we are, frankly. When a lot of people, think of Utah, it's not necessarily known for its diversity, but we have a really diverse workforce, and we recognize that diverse companies are strong companies. And so, Preston, we love to see people from all sorts of different backgrounds, and also diversity of thought, I would say. So, if you have, different experiences or anything like that, we would love to see you come into the bank and bring that experience with you.
Thanks. Oh, thanks for sharing that. I do have a question that came through. As far as your internship program, one, is it paid? And two, do you help with a stipend for living expenses while doing the internship?
Yeah, that's a great question. I am super passionate also about making sure internships are paid. So they are paid, and the pay is competitive in line with standards here locally and nationally. Like I mentioned, just to be transparent, for our internship opportunities, most of them tend to be in market because we want to provide that in-person experience. So we mostly just focus on the competitive pay. I will say for a lot of our technology roles, because tech talent is still so in demand and a relatively good job market now, we have a lot of folks who work remote, like coast to coast. So if you're a more of an experienced hire, we have considered folks who are remote. But for our internships, we really like to provide that in-person opportunity for you to network with executives, um, get that hands-on mentoring, all that good stuff.
Thanks. Are there any more questions while we have Jacob here to share his knowledge with us? And we'll also include your LinkedIn profile when we send out this recording, Jacob, just in case anyone who would like to reach out to you with any additional questions who weren't able to attend the live session.
Yes, absolutely. And Kristen, I appreciate your kind words. I always love to connect with students. So, like I said, feel free to add me on LinkedIn. I know questions sometimes come up after events like these, so happy to connect with y'all. And I'd love to see some great applicants from WGU for some of our open positions.
Right, yes. So it looks like we don't have any more questions. So I would like to thank you, Jacob, for taking the time out to speak with our students and alum in regards to Zion Bank and all the opportunities that you have. Again, if you have any questions, please reach out. Now, thank you for joining us today for our Career Quest session, and be on the lookout for other sessions that will be coming the rest of the month. But thank you again, Jacob.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye bye.